It's beer o'clock on Real Craft Beer. Today we've got a beer from Next Level Brewing, and it's a bottle of their Bitter Freak Brutal IPA. It's coming in at 7% ABV, and the reason why it's called Brutal IPA is that it's 200 IBUs. That's kind of off the Richter scale of bitter IPAs. IBUs is International Bittering Units. It's the kind of way of it normally goes between 0 and 100, 100 being very strong, 0 being nothing at all. And it's a way of brewers and people drinking beer to gauge how bitter a beer can be without opening the bottle. So your palate, you can only take 100 IBUs. This beer is 200. It's off the Richter scale. It was sent by Martin of Pro Beer. Let's get the beer out into a glass and see what we get. Thank you, Martin. Right. So what does a 200 IBU IPA look like in the glass? Well, this is it. There's a little bit of haze. I can see the kind of haze in the bottom of the bottle there. So we'll show you what the beer looks like without adding too much of that sediment to the beer. It's got a kind of a slow moving sediment that's very fine, that's moving through the glass. It's a lovely golden coloured ale with a 1 to 2 finger white head. Nice levels of moving carbonation. Let's get the aroma. And yes, lots and lots of grapefruit, lots and lots of pine. And you can almost smell the hop oils creeping up your nostrils. Should we dive into this one? It's going to be bitter. Cheers. Oh, wow. Oh, blimey. I gotta be honest, before I started this review, I was a little bit tired. I was a little bit kind of, not flaking out, but a little bit lethargic, if you like. One sip of that beer has put me up on my toes, and it's made my eyeballs kind of spring open, and I'm feeling very much awake after that first sip. Incredibly bitter beer then. Absolutely incredible bitter beer. But initially you pick up some malt and then no malt whatsoever, because bang, smash, wallop, that bitterness is rampaging through my palate. I suppose it's the most extreme, in terms of trying to find flavour, it's the most extreme lemon peel you could ever kind of bite through with your teeth. It's incredibly bitter. It's grapefruity, but again, it would be like 200 concentrated grapefruits into a little kind of shot glass. It's that kind of bitterness. It really is bitter. And you do, even though your palate can only take up to 100 IBUs, I'm pretty sure that being 200, the sensation, it's got to be there somewhere. And I'm pretty sure this is one of the bitterest beers that I've ever tried on the channel. But it is malty, it is sweet. And the more you sip it, of course, your palate adjusts to that incredible bitterness. So maltiness, breadiness, biscuitiness, and then that completely out of balance, out of kilter bitterness comes rampaging on the back end. Martin, you've sent us a real treat here of a beer. Thank you very much. Have a look at that, guys, with all of that yeast added. So a bottle conditioned beer then, or a unfiltered beer at least. Next Level Brewing, not had anything from them. I'd love to try some more from these guys. Austrian brewery then. And it's described as, are you ready for the next level of bitterness? Insane amounts of finest hops lead to enormous citrusy waves of hop aroma kicking your palate. The hoppy oils cover your throat and each sip adds to the next layer of bitterness. Push the bitter or your bitter limit. It certainly pushed my bitter limit, I'm telling you. 7% ABV, you don't get any kick of alcohol whatsoever. I actually think it's quite a quirky, interesting, likeable beer, to be honest. It was one that I've really enjoyed reviewing, and it's something that's very different in terms of kind of balance of wheat and malts versus hops. It's completely out of balance. Rating, how do I rate a beer like this? I suppose the question I ask myself is, would I buy myself another? Or would I buy it again? And I suppose if I got to the end of the night, my palate was shot from drinking lots of other beers, and I wanted something to really taste at the end of a night, instead of going to the top shelf, some kind of silly vodka and coke or kind of whiskey or something, then yeah, I would go for this 7% Bitter Freak and just rip my palate apart as the last beer of the night. Rating wise, it's incredibly bitter. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. It's not a beer that's hiding anything. It's called Bitter Freak. It's meant to blow your palate apart. So everything on the label is true. So I've got to rate it like that. I mean they're not lying. It's very bitter, and that's what they wanted. So 8 out of 10, I think is a very good rating for this beer. Thanks for watching. Thanks to Martin. Please comment, please subscribe, and cheers.